You can't attend Thanksgiving until you apologize, my parents said after I refused to co-sign my sister's $26,000 car loan. Then she dropped a bomb: you were adopted. I just smiled, message received. That night, Grandpa said nothing. He handed me a small envelope, and what happened next shocked me. You know that feeling? The one where you realize your entire life has been a silent negotiation, and suddenly, the other side is trying to cash in on a debt you never agreed to. My family thought they could break me by dangling Thanksgiving like a carrot and twisting the knife of my adoption. They had no idea that night I stopped being their ATM and became the boundary setter I was always meant to be. My name's Evan. I'm 31, and for as long as I can remember, I've been the guy who fixes everything. The Wi-Fi, the taxes, the forgotten birthdays. I even showed up early to haul folding tables out of Dad's truck. I had my life dialed in: a small apartment, a paid-off Corolla, a steady job as a systems analyst. No drama, no debt, no favors owed. Or so I thought. Because that's who I was before my family decided I was also their walking, talking credit score. It all blew up on a Sunday night. Mom called a quick meeting at the house to plan Thanksgiving. The dining room was thick with the cloying scent of cinnamon candles and lemon cleaner, trying to mask the tension that already hung in the air. In the living room, the muted drone of football was a grim soundtrack to what was coming. My sister, Jenna, sat at the far end of the table. She had a glossy brochure face down, like a secret everyone already knew. Let's start with a reminder, Dad began, drumming his fingers on the table. It sounded less like a suggestion and more like a judge about to read a sentence. Respect in this family isn't optional. I remember thinking, I didn't realize I'd need armor just to discuss stuffing. Mom folded her hands, her voice crisp, like she was reading from a script. Evan, you can't come to Thanksgiving until you apologize. You embarrassed your sister. I blinked. For what? Jenna finally flipped the brochure over. There it was, in big, friendly numbers, a brand new crossover SUV, MSRP $26,000. All I needed was a cosign, she whined, looking at me. You made it weird at the dealership. I just stared at her. No, I said, my voice flat. That's not weird. That's a sentence. As in, no, I will not be doing that. Dad's jaw tightened. Family helps family, Evan. Family doesn't take someone's signature like it's a party favor, I shot back, the chair scraping loudly as I pushed away from the table. That old, familiar heat started to creep into my face. It was the same flush of anger and shame I'd felt every time I was cast as the ungrateful one for not volunteering my wallet. Jenna looked at me, her voice dripping with artificial sweetness. Since you won't step up, surprise. It's time you heard this. She leaned forward, a malicious glint in her eyes. You were adopted. The room went utterly still. My mom wouldn't meet my gaze. Dad stared right through me, like I was transparent. Jenna watched, poised, waiting for the impact, like a kid waiting for fireworks. I waited too, bracing for the punch to land. But it never did. Surprise accepted, I said, and even I was shocked by how calm my voice sounded. Okay. Jenna's smile twitched, her expectation unmet. That's it? No meltdown? I have one later, scheduled right after laundry, I quipped, but inside, a part of me had just splintered. Mom sighed, like I had personally ruined the casserole. Evan, show some respect. We didn't want to tell you this way, but you forced our hand. You owe this family. And I owe you an apology for not co-signing. Got it, I said, just to end it. Dad leaned back, sealing my fate. So, it's decided. Until you apologize, you stay home on Thanksgiving. The clock over the stove ticked, too loud, too insistent. In the living room, the muted football game replayed a scene in slow motion, a player missing a catch he'd never had. No one noticed Grandpa slide in from the hallway. He didn't say a word. His old cardigan hung loose on his shoulders, his eyes steady on me. He pressed a small, worn envelope into my palm and gently closed my fingers around it. Then he patted my hand, once, like a period on a sentence, and shuffled back down the hall. I slipped the envelope into my jacket. No one asked what it was. No one asked if I was okay. As I walked out, Jenna's sing-song voice followed me. Think about the loan, E. It's not even that much. I paused at the door, my hand on the cold knob. You think that because it isn't your name on it. She rolled her eyes. God, you're dramatic. I drove home with the windows cracked, the November air biting. The envelope burned a silent hole in my pocket. I didn't open it. Not yet. I sat in the parking lot, keys in my hand, a new, sharp truth dawning on me. You can love a family and still refuse to be the bank. That night, I put the envelope on my kitchen table, next to a chipped mug and the bills I'd already meticulously budgeted for. I washed 2 dishes. I fed my plant. I stared at the ceiling for what felt like an eternity. When I finally slid a thumb under the flap, the paper inside felt old, carefully preserved, like something saved for a very long time. I didn't become the responsible one because I'm special. I became it because someone had to be the brake pedal. Jenna, bless her heart, is 26. Charming, quick, and always one story away from a fresh start. College, then a gap year, then a second major, then a certificate that was definitely going to change everything. Retail job, then a boutique job, then an Etsy shop, then consulting. Somehow, all of that required nicer phones, seasonal trips, and last-minute emergencies that hit the exact day her rent was due. Spot me just this once, she'd text. I'll Venmo you Friday. Friday never came. Those Venmo requests sat in my app, monuments to broken promises, gathering digital dust. When I was 24, Dad called. We're proud of you, son, and we need a favor. Their furnace died. I put $2,200 on my credit card and set up a payment plan that nobody honored but me. The next spring, I covered Jenna's last 2 classes so she could graduate on time, $980. The next fall, I co-signed her lease because landlords are unfair. 2 months in, she forgot to pay. I paid to protect my own credit. If I said no, I was cold. If I said yes, I was so generous, until the next ask. The family group chat, Fam Jam, wasn't really about family. It was a running ad for expectations. Mom, dinner at 6. Evan, bring your laptop to fix the printer. Dad, Evan, you know about insurance stuff. What's the cheapest? Jenna, hey big bro. Can you add me back to your phone plan? My provider is trash. Once, just once, after my car threw a code, I asked for help. Silence. Then, a sticker. A cartoon thumbs up. The rule was simple. Evan's time and money were communal property. Evan's boundaries were an offense. It's not like I never messed up. I had my broke months. I ate beans and rice and whispered next paycheck to myself like a spell. But it was my mess, my fix. I didn't outsource the consequences. So, when Jenna asked me to co-sign a $26,000 car note because the rate is amazing and it'll help my credit, I said no. Not because I'm cruel, but because I'm awake. Her debt would become my debt the first time she ghosted a statement. The salesperson's pen had hovered. Jenna's face went glassy-eyed angry, the kind. That looks like tears until you see there's no water behind them. She grabbed Mom's arm on the way out of the dealership. He just likes power, she hissed. He wants to hold it over me. Mom's mouth tightened. We'll discuss this at home. Oh, we did. And that's when they dangled Thanksgiving like a carrot with a lock on it. It would be easy to say that the adoption reveal was the real grenade. It wasn't. It was just a sparkler waved too close to my face. The real explosion had been building for years, in my email receipts, in my bank statements, in my gut. I opened Grandpa's envelope at midnight. A bad feeling in my stomach, but a good cup of tea in my hand. Inside were 3 things. 1, a black and white baby photo of me, with my grandma's blocky handwriting on the back, Evan, brought to us on purpose. 2, a photocopy of an adoption decree with my tiny footprint stamped at the bottom. 3, a folded letter, in Grandpa's careful script. Kiddo, it began. If you're reading this, someone used the word adopted to hurt you. They're wrong. We chose you like a door we walked through with our eyes open. If your folks forget that, that's on them. Practical matters. There's a small CD at First Pioneer Bank in your name. Started when you were 3. It's not the lottery, but it's real. I promised your grandma I'd tell you at the right time. She said the right time is when he needs proof he isn't crazy. The name of the banker is on the back. He's decent. Use it for you. Not for anyone's emergency that pops up the same day as nails, lashes, or football tickets. Love, G. On the back, a name and a phone number, in Grandpa's steady pen. The pressure in my chest, that tight knot I'd been carrying, eased. Not because of the money, I had no idea how much was in there, but because of that one sentence, use it for you. The next morning, Mom left me a voicemail. Evan, we love you, but I have to protect Jenna from your hostility. She's the baby, Evan. 10 minutes later, a text in Fam Jam from Dad. Remember, Evan owes Jenna an apology before Turkey. We vote on these things. Nobody had voted. They just universally agreed my boundary was rude. Aunt Maggie chimed in with a heart emoji for no reason. Uncle Rich added, let's keep it positive. Jenna sent a meme, a turkey holding a sign that said, no jerks allowed. I typed and deleted about 15 responses. Then I put my phone face down and called First Pioneer. The banker picked up on the second ring. This is Dale. I told him my name. He hesitated, then a warmth entered his voice. George's grandson, he said. Been a while since I heard his laugh. We set an appointment for Thursday morning. He asked me to bring ID. I looked at the adoption decree on my table. Proof, not of where I came from, but of who stood up for me. Wednesday, Jenna posted a selfie test driving the crossover. Tell me I don't look like this car, and I dare you to be wrong, the caption read. 2 cousins replied with fire emojis. Mom commented, manifesting. Above it, Dad had posted a screenshot of his calendar. Thanksgiving -1. Don't be late. He tagged everyone but me. I didn't reply. Instead, I froze my credit. I quietly pulled my phone line off Jenna's device. I started a list titled Things I Pay for That Aren't Mine, and it was longer than I let myself imagine. Streaming passwords, a cloud storage plan Jenna used for her shop, a Prime account, my old gym membership Dad had never canceled and was still borrowing, the family Spotify that was never paid back. I read Grandpa's letter twice more. I slept better than I had in months. Thursday morning at the bank, Dale slid a folder across the desk. George visited every year on your birthday, he said. He never missed. He called it your no-guilt fund. The number on the statement wasn't huge, but it was not nothing. Enough for first and last month's rent if I moved. Enough for therapy. Enough to fix my car. Enough to start a home down payment later if I guarded it. Dale looked at me. He told me once, if they ever try to make the boy feel like he's a burden, tell him I did the math. He's the ledger in the black. I swallowed hard. He really said that? Twice, Dale said, a small smile playing on his lips. You want to talk disbursement options? I nodded. Not for them, I said. For me. My phone vibrated. Fam Jam lit up again. Mom, reminder, Evan, come early to set up tables. Dad, if you're mature, you'll show your face. Jenna, bring your checkbook. Kidding. Not really. I realized I wasn't tired of giving. I was tired of giving to people who called my yes a duty and my no a sin. I put my phone back in my pocket and told Dale, I think I'm done being the communal resource. He nodded, like he'd been waiting for me to catch up to something he already knew. Thanksgiving morning, 10:12 a.m. The family group chat pinged like a slot machine. Photos of pie, a countdown gif, a reminder from Dad, grace before we eat, no phones at the table. The irony made me laugh, alone in my empty kitchen. I packed a simple bag. Grandpa's letter. A printout of every transfer I'd made in the last 5 years. 3 screenshots of Jenna promising Friday for sure. The lease I'd co-signed. A bank alert from the month she accidentally put a utility in my name. And a fresh copy of the adoption decree. I didn't plan to fight. I planned to finish. At 12:43 p.m., I parked behind the minivan with the Proud of My Honor Students sticker, Jenna's, ironically. The wind whistled through the maples. Inside, football was on TV again, muted again. The table was set like a magazine spread, with china we only used to impress other people. The turkey steamed. Family swirled. Jenna saw me first. Oh, look who decided to show up before apologizing. I set my bag by a chair. I brought paperwork. Mom's smile was tight. Evan, don't make a scene. I'm not making one, I said. I'm ending one. Dad stood at the head of the table. Before we sit, he announced, gesturing like a ringmaster, Evan has something to say. I do, I said. I'm not co-signing. Not now. Not ever. I'm taking my name off anything it doesn't belong on. Effective today. I'm done paying for things I don't use, didn't sign for, and wasn't asked about. Jenna snorted. You rehearsed that? Yes, I said. In my car. Aunt Maggie tried a soft voice. Honey, maybe we can talk later? No, I said. We always do it later, then never. We're doing it now. I pulled out the stack of pages and laid them on the table like cards. These are the transfers. Heat in January 2018, $2,200. Jenna's tuition, $980. Jenna's deposit, $1,100. The emergency dentist bill, $340. Endless small drips that somehow never flowed back. I tapped another page. These are the texts where you said you'd pay me Friday, and you didn't. This is the lease I co-signed to help, or I ended up the only one who paid. This, I tapped another page, is an alert from the power company addressed to me for a house I do not live in. Dad's face flushed. We don't air this during a holiday. We air it when the public shaming started during a holiday, I countered. You banned me from Thanksgiving if I didn't apologize for not putting my signature on $26,000 of someone else's debt. Jenna folded her arms. It's not someone else's. It's mine. That's different. That sentence is a riddle, I said, looking her dead in the eye. And I'm not solving it for you. Mom's voice sharpened. Language, Evan. I slid the adoption decree across to Dad. And this? If you weaponize this again, that's the last time I see you for a while. Jenna rolled her eyes. God, we were trying to be honest. No, I said. You were trying to make me feel like a guest in my own life. Grandpa beat you to it. I held up the letter. He told me first. Without malice. Without strings. He said I was chosen on purpose, and he put aside a little money he called my no-guilt fund. I'm not asking for yours. I'm telling you I have mine. Dad laughed. It was an ugly sound. Oh, please. Your grandpa barely careful, I said quietly, cutting him off. Say one bad word about him and I'll leave. He's the only person in this room who hasn't asked me for a single dollar. Silence. The game on TV showed a player in the end zone, arms raised. The muted crowd roared. Jenna went for the jugular, like she always did. You're selfish. I nodded. Yep. With my credit score. My signature. My time. I'm done sharing those with people who call it love until I say no. Mom set down her napkin like she was placing a delicate bomb. Are you really going to ruin today? I picked up my bag. No, I'm going to ruin your system. I put the last page on the table. It was an email from the dealership, confirming a loan application had been submitted with my name listed as a pre-approved co-applicant. The timestamp was 2 hours after I'd said no. I looked at Jenna. Did you use my information without my permission? Her cheeks blotched. It was a pre-check. Everyone does it. The guy said it was fine. That guy's commission won't pay my bill when you stop, I said. Here's what's going to happen. I've placed a fraud alert on my credit. Any new application you run will ping me and die. I've removed you from my phone line. The streaming services you use that I pay for will log you out at midnight. If I see my name on any account I didn't sign, I file a police report. I hope I never have to, but I will. Dad slammed his palm on the table. Silverware jumped. You ungrateful, sit down, Tom. Grandpa's voice, thin but clear, came from the doorway. Everyone turned. He stood in his cardigan, hand on the frame, eyes clear. George, this is family business, Dad started. Grandpa shook his head. Exactly why he's saying it here. You taught him to be the safety net. And then got mad when he stopped letting you jump. He looked at me and nodded, that same punctuation as the envelope. Eat or go, kid, he said. Either way, be done with it. I tucked Grandpa's letter back into my bag. I'm going, I said. I'll see you when you can talk to me without drafts of bills in your hands. Jenna scowled. Don't expect rides when your little Corolla dies. I won't, I said. I'll expect Uber. I left before anyone could say, we can talk about this later. Because later was where my boundaries went to disappear. You know that quiet you hear after a loud room goes utterly still? That followed me into the parking lot, into my car, into the first deep breath I'd taken in months. At 3:07 p.m., my phone shook itself awake. 38 texts. Mom, you made a fool of us. Dad, act like a man. Jenna, so you're actually locking me out of Spotify on a holiday? Aunt Maggie, love you both. Let's calm down. Uncle Rich, buddy, no need to be dramatic. I didn't reply. I drove to the river and watched late leaves spin in the eddies, trying to understand how relief could sit next to grief without either one moving over. At 6:22 p.m., Grandpa called. Come by, he said. Pi left. I brought him coffee. He brought out a small, fireproof box. Inside were more of Grandma's solid little truths, photos, a recipe card in her loopy hand, and a safety deposit key with a scrap of paper taped to it, for when he learns to. Grandpa pressed it into my palm. You did good, he said. I feel like I dropped a plate that was really just a mirror, I told him. Loud, but nothing broke that wasn't already cracked. He chuckled. You talk pretty for a boy who used to eat paste. We didn't talk about adoption beyond a few quiet sentences that I will keep forever. We chose you, he said, not like a dog at the shelter, but like a door we walked through and closed behind us, on purpose. The next week was paperwork. The kind that isn't cinematic, but changes everything. I met with Dale again and moved the CD into a high-yield savings account, with my name and only my name. I printed letters to the credit bureaus with my fraud alert case number. I called the dealership manager and forwarded the email with my name on the pre-approved line. He apologized 5 times and promised retraining. I wrote the date and time in a notebook anyway, because apologies without paper are like balloons with tiny leaks. I unsubscribed Jenna's email from my Amazon. She fired off a text, wow, petty. I had a cart going. I typed back, you can push it to check out with your card. Then I put my phone away before I had to watch the 3 dots blink threats. Mom left a voicemail that started soft and went sharp. Evan, you're hurting Jenna's mental health. She can't sleep. She's using Dad's Netflix, which is honestly fine. So, can you at least delete? Dad sent a single line, you are not my son if you treat us like strangers. I saved that one. Not to reread, but to remember exactly what not to respond to. Work got quieter, the way a house does when a refrigerator stops humming. A background noise you didn't realize had been constant. I had extra hours where anxiety usually sat. I filled them. I went to the gym I actually pay for. I booked a therapy appointment and didn't cancel it. I cooked food that wasn't a panic dinner. I slept. 2 cousins slid into my DMs like outlaws offering a campfire. Saw what happened in FamJam, one wrote. You're not wrong. The other, they tried to make me co-sign 2 years ago. Said no. Haven't been invited to Christmas since. Want to split a Friendsgiving? We did. We brought store-bought pies and forgiveness, and not one of us used the phrase keeping the peace. Consequences rolled through the family like weather, and where I wasn't standing in the rain this time. Jenna's dealership deal died on the vine without my name attached. She went on Instagram Live, half crying, half scoffing about haters who don't believe in me. A friend DM'd me a clip. I didn't watch it. The next day, Jenna texted, "You're literally going to make me Uber to work." I said, yes. Budget for it. She sent back a skull emoji and nothing else for 48 hours. It was the quietest 2 days I'd had with my sister since 2004. Mom tried a new angle. If you're pulling your support, she texted, we need to talk about Dad's back therapy bill. I stared at the screen a long time. Then I wrote back, I didn't pull support. I ended enabling. If you want help, ask. Not for my signature, for my advice. If you want money, expect to know unless I offer. She called me cruel. I wrote, boundary. Next part available on my This account.